insanity. At a glance, this indie first-person shooter doesn't look like it belongs here, given that it has 88% positive reviews on Steam, but something about this cheaply modeled striped snail mascot with googly eyes tells me this game's going to fit right at home on the dark side of Steam. The plot, as relayed to you by a Star Wars text crawl, is that it's the year 2099, aliens are invading the Earth, and you're an agent that has to rescue the President of the United Nations from the alien flagship. To do this, you have to wander around each level, defeat all the enemies, and reach the exit. The aliens consist of the aforementioned giant floating snails striped red and blue with googly eyes, floating eyeballs with wings, these blobs on the floor, I think they're supposed to be Roombas, and robot walkers. The game's stated goal is to be kooky, strange, random, and trippy, but... Bro, you just put some snails and eyeballs into normal-ass hallways. You think that's trippy? I've helmed space nuns fighting evil giraffes with Bibles. I fought aliens to the tune of Gilligan's Island so that people can eat at Chili's. I fought crime with dabs, battled ghosts using bondage, and prevented a zombie apocalypse by convincing Gabe Newell to release Half-Life 3. And if I could remember what Tomato Way was babbling about, I'd cite that too. You're not trippy for fighting some snails in a cheap spaceship. You're gonna need stronger drugs to crack this nut! So you run around shooting the enemies with what I assume to be a basic handgun. I'll give the game credit that each enemy has a different weakness. The eyes you need to shoot from the front, and the snails have an invisible weak point in the center. But pretty quickly I run into a problem. You've got 30 shots in whatever invisible gun you're holding, and there are 0 ammunition pickups. Once you run out of bullets, you're boned, so you need to be precise. Luckily, you have a second weapon. If you right-click, you can switch to grenades, which nuke an entire room at once. Kinda makes the enemy weaknesses a moot point when you can just bomb them all to shit, doesn't it? But ammo's not your main problem. You have a stamina bar that's marked by an onk because lol so random, and this thing drains like crazy. As in, drop dead of exhaustion after about 1 minute, even if you're not moving. Crazy. To refill the meter, you have to pick up red orbs, except the orbs barely give you back any energy, so you have to grab these damned orbs non-friggin' stop, or else you die. Oh, and once your energy gets down to like a third, your vision blacks out so that it's impossible to play anymore, like the game sees that you're dying and wants to make sure that it sticks and makes you die more. Oh, and once you kill all the enemies, the exit opens up. You better hope you find that exit before your energy runs out, or you'll have to do it all again despite the fact the level is over. The one saving grace that makes this mess playable is that you have a mini-map that marks all the enemies' locations. It makes navigation a cakewalk. The map still doesn't mark level exits or those vitally important orbs, but beggars can't be choosers. Every now and then you'll even get a level that's actually designed to where you end up at the exit naturally. I know, will wonders never cease. Oh, and now's probably a good time to note that the levels weren't really fully designed, because enemies are randomized every single time that you load up a stage. It's important to note that so you have full context for what happened my first attempt at level 2. What? See, the walker enemies one-shot kill you by touch, and it is entirely possible for the game to spawn one exactly where you begin a new level. Yes, the game's coding is such ass that there's a non-zero chance of you starting the map dead! Oh, and insult to injury, none of these opening text boxes mean a thing. Every single last one of them just basically goes, ooh, this map is so weird, aren't I kooky? Yeah, I got killed to read this nonsense. You wouldn't think the game would be that bad. On paper, it's just a straightforward shooter. But the gameplay and levels are just jank enough to make the game tedious. It's that damn stamina meter that you need to babysit at all times. It takes what should be a basic FPS and makes it a constant annoyance. I eventually even realized, apart from the walkers, none of these enemies hurt you. That hideously annoying stamina meter time limit is the only hazard through some entire levels. So it's not enough the developer had a bad idea. They built literally the entire game around that bad idea. The levels do have other features besides just enemies. Some stages have wormholes that will teleport you to another section of the map. Or in the first level's case, send you a few feet backwards to where you just run through a portal for all eternity. You can also find captured aliens, computer readouts, swirly portals, and captive human women with skimpy clothes and big asses. None of those do anything! The swirly portals and captured babes are all strictly decoration. 'Cause that makes sense. Some portals teleport you and some don't do shit! You can tell the game was inspired by that old 3D maze wallpaper on classic Windows computers, which, by the way, trippier than this game could ever hope to be, because you can also find red swirly pathways that flip you upside down to where you walk on the ceiling, which you have to use to bypass lethal spikes and water on occasion. It's kinda cool, all except for one thing. There are no orbs on the ceilings! You roof walk to get around hazards and obstacles, and congratulations! You're gonna die up there from living too long! Unless you can swiftly find another swirly hole that drops you back to the ground near some fresh orbs. And the grenades obviously kill you too if you stand too close to the blast, but avoiding a grenade is a completely arbitrary guessing game. I threw a grenade, I take cover from the blast, run entirely around and behind a huge corner, I still shed a full third of my freaking health bar! I had cover, you son of a bitch! You can run, you can hide, the grenade will still shred you because the game hates you. It even seems to change from level to level how effectively you can avoid the blast, or even how much damage a grenade deals. How do even unseen weapon mechanics change at seemingly random? All these dickish cheap deaths and finicky mechanics that backfire, that's not making a silly meme game, that's just being an asshole. That's this game's whole problem. It's not designed to be funny, it's designed to be an asshole. Level 6 is the pinnacle of pointless dickery. You spawn in a room with 4 conveyor belts. You can't run against the belts, you're basically stuck on them once you touch one. 3 of these 4 belts drop you onto an insta-kill floor with no way to avoid it. So you figure out the path on the right actually takes you further into the level. Now we're in business. Except around every corner is another conveyor belt that drops you into another instant death pit. The only way to cross massive chunks of the level is to walk on the ceiling. Into massive dead zones where there's no way back down, meaning you can't grab red orbs to refill stamina, meaning that you die again. Every douchebag design decision comes together to where doing anything productive towards maybe reaching the end of the stage just kills you. I'm out. I'm sorry, this level's evaporated my patience. I have better things to do than to die over and over trying to find the one unseen route to the end while desperately managing the energy to get there. This crap ain't worth the effort. Even just the one change of removing the stamina bar, trade out that shit-sucking time limit for some ordinary enemies would make this bearable. But no, this is the kooky, weird game about pissing you off and pretending that it's on purpose. Well, luckily the game has 3 different campaigns that you can swap between at will, so maybe I'll have some better luck in the second set of levels. Now it's like 130 some odd years later after the first campaign, and the aliens are living underground in London. Oh good, an entire set of water levels in a game where water kills you instantly. Now every map is half built out of water that's instantly lethal, and you have to cross that water using rafts that barely work! Most first-person games have the player's hitbox set up like a cube to where you can make jumps without really making them, as long as an invisible cloud around you touches the ground. That way you don't have to be super precise with the platforming, given that you can't see your feet. Whereas in this game, you die if your entire cube isn't over solid ground at all times. One stray invisible foot pixel pokes out of the boundaries, and you're dead. Or at least that's my best explanation for why I keep dying to stuff that wouldn't hurt you in any other game. You know, it occurs to me that since only one of the enemies can actually harm you, the far greater threat to you is your useless lard-ass protagonist who can't jump, can't swim, and dies of exhaustion from standing upright. Hit the gym, you lazy son of a bitch! But hey, it's not all bad. The grenades can float. In fact, grenades bounce off the surface of the water as if it were a solid floor. Physics! So it turns out that an entire campaign of water levels where you need to be insanely precise with every step or else die and start over without warning really tries my patience. The level design has not improved. The first stage has its exit hidden at the end of a massive raft ride with no exits. If you get on this thing before having wiped out all the enemies, you're just dead. And the game became so insufferable that I rage quit at the 4th London stage. The first area has you traversing crisscrossing rafts with infinite opportunities for you to die on accident. These damn rafts move so slowly that you burn through stamina like crazy just waiting for the stage to function. Rafts will just abruptly crash into a wall that sweeps you off without warning. Why'd you build an entire campaign around a mechanic that doesn't work? Poopy suit! Poopy suit! Poopy suit! Poopy suit! Having been driven to rage quit by the first 2 campaigns, I didn't have high hopes for the third. You play as a general storming the alien homeworld, still with your one handgun, apparently. But I was actually really surprised. Not only did I finish the entirety of the 3rd campaign, I didn't die a single time. I cruised through this set of levels. Now, why is that? Did I have a breakthrough and suddenly get good? Was I more focused, more rested, coming back to the game at the peak of my gaming skills? I beat the 3rd campaign because the developer gave up and stripped out all of the game's mechanics. There are practically 0 spikes or water, there are no rafts or moving platforms, the levels are flat open floor plans instead of mazes. They took out the one enemy that hurts you and replaced it with spiders that do nothing, no red swirly roof walker things that trap you on the ceiling. I even think they toned down the grenade damage to where you don't injure yourself. And the pain in the ass stamina meter that you need to worry about refilling at all times in order to survive. The homeworld levels are swimming in red orbs to where stamina isn't even a factor anymore. They removed all of the game from the game. Now for the homeworld levels, you just have to worry about killing all the enemies with limited ammo, which is not difficult when grenades flash nuke an entire room at once. The only thing they added to compensate for all the missing features is a few spider webs that block off hallways. But you can still huck grenades through them. The spiders don't make new webs, and the walls don't kill you. Why are these supposed to be a big deal? I don't get this at all. Did the developer actually playtest their game one day, figure out that it sucked, set out to improve Chapter 3, and figure out they had to scrap everything to make the game tolerable? Like, I want to give the game credit for having a chunk of decent levels, but I can't overlook that the developer had to eviscerate the game down to bare bones just to make it work correctly. It's like if you were playing a stealth game like Dark and the last chapter just went, ugh, this game sucks. Just walk to the exit and be done. I don't care anymore. And now that I've played a campaign to completion, I can confirm the game doesn't have a story or any boss fights. Finishing a chapter just brings up a congratulations screen. Hell, the exit to the final level even says that you're moving on to level 25. Level 25 does not exist. But there is supposedly some more content to play, or at least there would be if the game ever had a community behind it. Hidden in the game's files is a PDF explaining how to make your very own stages, which can be shared to people who subscribe to your modded content. I don't know how you subscribe, and the game does not have a built-in level editor. You're supposed to design the levels by opening up a friggin' word processor and laying out and designing a map via text file. Yeah, this caveman coding is starting to make a lot of sense as to how the game ended up not so good. I have no idea if there are custom maps available to give the game some legs, but from what I know of its user base, you probably wouldn't want to play them anyway. So I'm just going to take my minor victory and bid you dumbasses a good day. Alien Insanity is one of the better bad Steam games that we've looked at. It has ideas and I guess the nice way of saying it would be original work, but I still can't say I enjoyed it. Every last mechanic and level layout just feels like a bad idea, and I'm inclined to believe the developer wasn't trying to troll people, given the last set of levels they realized they were making shit. That's where the line kind of blurs between jank on purpose and I have no idea what I'm doing. So that brings up the question, how did this kinda lousy game get majority positive reviews on Steam? Was it the low bar of not being an asset flip and having a few decent levels? Was it the low price of a few dollars? It was memes. I read through all the reviews. It was memes. Yeah, apparently 9 years ago, there was a group of about 40 kids who thought that shooting some Technicolor snails and floating eyeballs in a crap game was the funniest damn thing on earth, and they dropped positive reviews spewing complete nonsense as a punchline to an inside joke. That's why I say that even if there are custom levels, I'd wager that at least 60% of them are just shaped like a penis. Man, people had to work hard for their memes back then. These days you just go to any Star Wars forum and talk about sand and the high ground. And from the look of things, practically nobody else has touched this since it launched in 2017. So if this spontaneously grows a new community of custom creators and players, I apologize for having blighted the world with such a dreadful curse.